This is the Seville Ultra HD Rolling Workbench. It can be used for a garage, warehouse, home, work centers. It supports up to 500 pounds. It's 77 inches long by 20 inches in depth and 37.5 inches in height. I'm going to go ahead and get this unboxed on camera. Then we're going to set it up in time lapse. I'm going to go over all of the details that this workbench has to offer. There we go. This is one side piece, and it looks like we have a ton of side pieces and a bunch of drawer brackets. Everything looks very well packed, like no issues. I'm gonna get all these parts put into the next room, and then we'll take a look at the next box. But before I do that, it does come with instructions, and I am definitely gonna need these, let me tell you. Alright, so we're still looking at the first box here. This is all the paneling, and there's even a frame like right here. I just wanted to give you a quick look at the first box and the inside components of it. Over there to the right, I'm gonna go ahead and open up that box and show you what's inside of that, and then we'll get on to the second larger box. Oh, so these are just the wheels. So it looks like we have the rest of the drawer brackets to the left there, the rest of the paneling. It looks like in the far right corner, let's move over there. Looks like we have the cabinet doors, possibly in the drawer unit. Oh, wait a minute, there's another box underneath. I'm gonna get all of this stuff put into the basement, and then I'm gonna take a look at the third box that's inside the box. I'm willing to bet that is gonna be the countertop. Alright, this is the last box, and look at the pallet that this thing came on. They had to wheel it in here. So if you plan on moving this stuff by yourself, you really do need to get at least one other person to help you move this, or do what I did and just take everything individually out of each box to move it. And there it is. It's got some holes in it for anchor points. Here's all the hardware. It comes with a screwdriver, a wrench, all the screws, washers, brackets, everything is in this bag. Alright, so for the most part, the framing is finished. The wheels are installed, the bottom panel, the back panel, the two side panels, the front frame, all the drawer sliding mechanisms, and the countertop on the base, that's installed as well. So the next step is to flip the workbench right side up, and then I think we're going to begin installing the drawer units. So it took me roughly 3 hours to install this workbench by myself, and I split that up into 2 days. There weren't any real issues with the installation process. In fact, the installation guide, the instructions were really clear and informative. They were really good at portraying what exactly had to be done and with what parts that needed to be done with. There are only 2 areas of this workbench where I thought that it could have benefited from having a second person, and that was actually lifting this unit up from being face down on the ground and installing the doors. If there's anything you're going to take away from this video during the build process, is that when you're screwing in and assembling the drawers or whatever you're assembling the frame, you want to make sure that you screw all the screws in, but you do not tighten them until all of them have been screwed in. Because if you tighten every single screw, that last screw could sometimes prove difficult to screw in because the holes don't line up properly. So by having all the screws screwed in but loose, you can get a full, perfect alignment, and then you go through and tighten down all the screws. The drawers themselves actually somewhat exceeded my expectations. When I go to pull the drawer out, there's like a pop, like not like a pop, but like a bump. I would say like a bump. And when you go to push the drawer back in, it gives you like a tactile bump. It just feels of decent quality. So this is the hardware that comes included with the Workbench. We have the wrench here, which is used to screw in the countertop to the frame of the Workbench. We also have a magnetic screwdriver that's Phillips, and this has proved to be very worthy of this installation because it has a thin shaft and it's able to get into the small crevices that are needed to complete the installation with all the small screws involved. The second thing is going to be one of the common screws. There's a ton of screws that come with this Workbench, and this one is used primarily to assemble all the drawers and all the smaller type appliances that come with this Workbench. This larger screw right here comes with a washer, and this is what's used to bolt the hardwood countertop to the frame of the Workbench. This long black screw here is used to screw in bumpers on four corners of this Workbench. So when you're wheeling this thing around, if it bumps into anything, there's a small soft rubber corner that will actually bump into whatever you're bumping into so that there's no damage or scratches. And the last screw here is primarily used for the cabinet doors and the handles on each side of the Workbench. Lastly, we have 3 sets of keys. One set of keys goes to the cabinet door, one set of keys goes to the drawer units above the cabinet, and then the last set of keys goes to the left of the left-hand side drawer units all throughout this left-hand side of the Workbench. On the left-hand side, they provide you with a handle, and on the right-hand side, they provide you with a handle for movement as well.